Now we're going to look at part 2 for the module 2 SPSS exercises. So we're going to go, I still have my old file open. So let's file open, oh, nope, I don't want to open one. I have a new data set. So I'm going to open a new data set here. Now I want to close the old one. If you were going to save this, you could save it here, but I'm not going to save it. So I'm just going to close it. And now my only active data set is this one data set. So we're going to create the data set for this file. I'm not going to be as thorough as I was with the last one for here, so follow along the best you can. The name of our first variable is group. Nope, we want to have an ID variable, so ID is first. Then we want to have group, then gender, and here you notice I capitalized ID, both I and D in the ID variable. I capitalized the G in group. I didn't capitalize the G in gender. It really doesn't matter. That's all personal preference. Now we're going to look at homework 1, score, homework 2 is a variable, and homework 3. I don't like decimals, so I'm just going to make all of these 0 because decimals, when I don't need them for anything, are upsetting. Whoa! 16, whoa, what's it doing? Okay. It doesn't like me right now. Yikes. Don't know. Oh, maybe because I clicked too much. Weird. So weird. Okay. It looks like we're gonna have some issues here. Alright, we'll just let it be that way. That's fine. We'll just make all of the homeworks have 3 decimals, sure. So ID is just the case number. Again, I don't need to list anything else. Group is group membership. You don't have to be super specific in the label, just so you know what it is. And you can make them bigger, just like in Excel, using clicking on the edge of each row, column, and dragging them. Now in the values here, I'm going to label value 1 as experimental, EXPT, or I can put experimental. And I'm going to make control 0. You can choose any numbers. Really, it doesn't make a difference. You could pick 500 and 10, as long as you know what they are. It's just easier to pick like 0 and 1, 1 and 2. Those numbers are just it's easier to remember, to be honest. That's why they're used. So there we go. We added those in. Press OK so that they show up. Gender, it's kind of self-explanatory, but we'll add that there. Here, gender. So I'll show you how you can do things a different way. So I'm going to use the value 10 to be female, and I'm going to use the value 5, 50 to be male. Okay, so that's not quite as easy to remember, but all right, those are there. Then this is going to be grade, whoops, for homework 1. Grade for homework 2, grade for homework 3. Now, do we want to put in a measure? We don't need one for ID. Group membership is nominal. Gender is nominal. These other 3 are scales because they can be a range of numeric values. So now that we've created our variables, we're going to go back to data view. Now we're going to enter in our data. So ID 1, there's 10 individuals here, I think. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 2 ways to enter data. You can go row by row for each individual, or you can just go down the column. I find going row by row is it takes a little longer, but you're less likely to make mistakes. So experimental is 1, gender 50 we said was male. Their score was 92 on homework 1, 84 on homework 2, and 93 on homework 3. And we're just going to go like that for all of the people in this sample. Then we have another person in experimental. They were female. That was 10. 77, 84, 85. Then we're going to do number 3 was also experimental. They were male, 50. So we're going to put 87 for their first grade, 86, 81, so on. Experimental 1, 10, 89, 90, 93. Well, that person did really well. Last experimental person, male, was 50. So then we have 64, 73, and 78. Now we're going into the control group. So control people and female. So control was 2 and female was 10. Then their homework score, 81, 84, 93. And these other people are all in the control group, so let's go down and just do that. Then we have another male, then we have a female, another male, and a female. So this is the other way to enter data, is going down the columns. We got an 83, an 84. You can practice both ways and see what works best for you, what makes the most sense to you. Either way is totally fine. I just like to present options so that you can find what works best. 91, we're on the last homework grading now. And if you need to pause this at any time, that's totally acceptable. Don't worry about it. Okay, so now all of our data is entered. It should look just like this. So I'm going to take a second here, so if you need to pause to compare what you have to what I have, you can. Now remember, if you use different values for the group and the gender, different number values. Oh wait, I think I made group as 0. I guess I need to fix that. So I made a mistake. I'm going to come back and just type over what I had in here as 0. Because that was what I said was experimental and control. Alright. So now we have all our values entered. That was number 1. Number 2, using the frequencies procedure, find the median, mode, minimum, and maximum of the variables homework 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so we're going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies. Now, we can do all 3 of these homeworks at the same time, find those values. So you want to use the Shift button to highlight all 3 and bring them over, or you can bring each one over by itself, that's fine too. Now we need those other values that we don't get automatically. So we're going to go to Statistics and check off what it asked for. The median, the mode, the minimum, and the maximum. Then we'll press Continue. Then we don't need the frequency tables because it's not asking for number and percent, so we'll uncheck that. So it should just give us those 4 statistics values we asked for. So when we do that, we see here, now I want you to see this, that we had that other data set open, data set 1, and we ran some things. Now there's some information here, and it's just showing you that I'm using the same output window even though I've been on 2 different data sets. So you can always close down your output if you're confused about what's happening and start with a fresh output window. That's totally fine as well. But here we have our values that I was looking for in this procedure. So the median for homework 1 was 83.5, homework 2 was 85, homework 3 was 87, and so on. Now there's a note here for the mode. It says multiple modes exist. The smallest value is shown. Alright, that just means there's more than one value that had more than one score that had multiple, the same amount of people got that score. That's fine. Now normally in the homeworks I'm going to have you write a sentence or fill in a table about this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this over. So I'm going to copy and paste it. If I right click, I can copy and paste it into this file. So you can do that. You can take a screenshot. On a Mac, it's Control-Shift-3, or to highlight, it's Control-Shift-4, and then you can just select a region. On a PC, it is the print screen key, PRTSCN, or something similar to that. If you press that button and then right click in your Word document and click paste, it will paste a screenshot into the document. So then we're going to do number 3. Using the descriptives procedure, find the means and standard deviation of the homework, the 3 homework scores. So again, we're going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics. Now we're going to Descriptives. We're going to bring all 3 over. So you can bring one at a time. You can also double click them and they come over. Either way, however works best. Then we'll press OK. Now it'll give us that descriptive value. So here I found the means and standard deviations. Normally, again, I'll have you report a sentence or fill in a table or something here. Again, I'm just going to take a screenshot. So I'm going to do my Control-Shift-4 in my Mac. It'll take a screenshot, and then I can drag that screenshot from my desktop over here to my document. I like to do that just because it looks a little prettier, but it's up to you guys. Oh, you don't need to see my email. Sorry about that. So now let's open back up our data window, frequency window. Here we are. Okay, now the last thing, the output window, not the frequency window. Sorry guys and girls. Now let's do number 4, running the frequency procedure. Report the number and percent for the variables group and gender. Alright, so what I'm looking for here is you to go to the frequencies procedure, and we want to get rid of these, but we don't need the statistics, but clicking through all that is a lot of work, so we're just going to click the reset button. Now everything's back to the standard, how it should be in SPSS for this frequencies procedure. Now we want to have the number and percent for group, so we'll bring that over, and for gender. We want to make sure, since we're looking for a number and percent, that we have the display frequency tables checked off so that it does show up. So there should be a blue check mark or whatever color it is next to that there, and then we'll press OK. Now we have these frequency tables. So what we can see is that in the control group, there were 5 individuals, which is 50%, and then the experimental group, there were 5 individuals, or 50%. Again, most of the time you're going to be filling in a chart or writing a sentence about this. The same with female, 5 females, and that's 50% of the sample, 5 males, and that's 50%. So what am I going to do here? I'll write a sentence out for you so you can see what I would be looking for if I asked for a sentence. There were 5 individuals, 50%, who were in the control group, and 5 individuals, 50%, in the experimental group. Additionally, or something like that, there were 5 females, 50%, and 5 males, 50%. Oop, I can't spell either. Additionally. Wow, guys. I'm sorry about that one. So that would be a sentence right up, just including both the number and percent in it. Alright, so now you should have been able to either follow along while I was talking, or you should be able to go and do this on your own to practice, but at least this way you now have the answers to compare so that you know what you're doing when you get to the homework.